I have decided to take a break from acting a little bit because I never really saw myself as like a พระเอก I never really perceived or felt that that was my career path. People think that I'm very intelligent. Absolutely not. Like I have like a silly side to me.
Yeah.
But hey, Thailand is not as bad as you think, you know. We're in a position where if we don't be careful, it will affect us.
Now it's happening right in front of us.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
Scuba diving can go extinct because there will be nothing to go diving to see.
I am so guilty of this because I don't do it all the time.
Okay.
But it did happen to me.
Environment, people think it's such a beautiful thing. โลกสวยแบบป่าทะเลต้นไม้ But actually, it's a very, very dark subject. It's about lives. I would say that the easiest thing would probably be finish your food.
Oh, okay.
Just that easy, that simple. It's a big impact, I would say. Like.
This is Comedy Featuring. My name is Vic, and welcome to the show. So you have heard about what they typically say about child actors, right? Especially those from Hollywood. I'm not so sure about Thai actors though, but a lot of them are supposed to be super talented, super confident, overly confident, highly demanding, highly competitive, highly pressured. Those definitely come with the job. High expectations from the parents, from the fans, even from themselves. Some become weird or socially awkward or even socially incompetent because they just don't know how to act around normal people in normal situation anymore because they don't have normal childhoods. What else? Spoiled, entitled, up to the level of being obnoxious and nobody hires them anymore. And that would be the end of some of those poor kids, sadly. But luckily, our guest today has none of those awful, stereotypical traits at all. So he has dodged a bullet and grown up to be a nice guy, still very grounded, humble, down to earth, and that's what everybody says about him. And he is also known for his interest and his work in environmental issues and what he does to impact the Thai society got him the title of the Standard Person of the Year 2019, Alex Rendell.
Thank you. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ Alex ครับ You still remember receiving those awards, right?
Yes. Actually, I would give that as one of my greatest achievements for sure. Yeah, because I remember I had a picture and it was me and it was Lisa.
Yes.
I was like,
It's still there. It's still up on the website.
Yeah. I was very grateful for that. Thank you, The Standard, for giving me that, by the way.
Okay, and thank you so much for coming to visit us today.
It's my pleasure.
On
Thank you for
Comedy.
having me. Thank you.
All right. I would like to start the show today by borrowing from T to T podcast because you often start by this rapid fire or like quick fire questions. So,
not very quick though.
not very quick, but well, it looks fun. So, but today the table has turned and you are on the receiving end of those questions.
Oh,
right?
That's great. That's
all right,
great. I'm excited for that. Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite superhero?
It has to be Batman.
Batman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does say a lot for a person to like idolize Batman.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really a superhero or a cartoon person growing up, but I love The Dark Knight so much and I love Christian Bale so much.
Yeah.
And I think that they made that movie, the superheroes became real, became a person in real scenes and Christopher Nolan and everything. So I just really, really love that movie.
Yeah. Me too. I love how he is a superhero without superpower, like a real superpower.
Yeah.
But he can do a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay. Favorite animal?
I'd have to say elephants. I have to say elephants.
No surprise there.
Yeah, because just because I feel like I owe so much to elephants, and like for me, starting off with the whole like work in conservation all started from elephants. I mean, I still have a dog now, but I don't really have time. But I used to have a pet dog, which we were very close, but I haven't had that connection with a pet for many, many years because I work so much and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it has to be elephants. If it was a สัตว์ทะเล and I would definitely say dugongs, sea cows. Yeah.
All right. Okay, it used to be like two things people think of like together, like Alex Elephant.
Alex Elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody. Yeah, I still have a son. Kwan Muang is my son. Yeah. So, yeah. I
Elephants.
guess I understand. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next one. Favorite things to eat ever.
I love all kinds of food. Actually, I love nice restaurants. I'm about to go to an Italian restaurant after this. So, but I would say Mexican would be my favorite. Yeah.
Wow. Anything in particular?
Tacos and nachos and cheese and all the unhealthy stuff. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next one. Favorite spot in your house.
I would have to say the swimming pool.
Yeah?
I feel very privileged to be in a situation where I could have a swimming pool in my house. And building the swimming pool, in the beginning, a lot of people who had swimming pools said that they don't really use it. But like my ideal holiday was always to go to the gym and then jump in the pool. And now I'm fortunate enough to have that at home. And I wake up in the morning, I see my parents in the pool and I see someone using it every day. And it's like the heart of the house. Everyone has their own area, but everyone comes to meet by the pool. Like I don't want to come.
Besides the kitchen, of course.
Yeah, the kitchen
Everybody's
too.
here in the pool.
So yeah, I would definitely say that the swimming pool is a very good choice that we built it in the end. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I hope I don't sound too over like showing off or anything like
Okay,
that.
but I get that. I'll be using it all the time too. But I also get that a lot of people might say that they don't get to use it. But I think it's like the lifestyle. Or the decision to have the pool in the first place. Is it just for them or for show, or they just think they need to have a pool for something?
Right. And especially with the hot weathers now, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Like every time when the weather is hot, you go for a dip and then you come back in the same room, you feel a little bit cooler physically and mentally. So yeah, I would definitely recommend if anyone has an opportunity or making that decision, go for it. You won't regret it.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite shows?
Favorite like TV show?
Or
Any
on
show?
internet? Yeah, on YouTube, anything.
I like to watch a lot of documentaries. I like to watch, I'm not so much on series lately, but I like to watch a lot of YouTube content. Actually, I'm a big fan of Gary Neville. Are you a football fan? Gary Neville,
really.
He's an ex-Man United player and he does like football podcasts, football content basically. And actually, he's like my bedtime story. Every night I listen to Gary Neville. Yeah.
Just sleeping with his content, like you're falling asleep as he was talking.
Yeah, I feel like podcast for me is like something that calms you down, takes you in a different world. And it's just very calming and very, and I just like the way he talks. I'm a Man United fan. He's a Man United player. So I really like what he does. And I quite like Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan too. All the like variety shows, many different, all on YouTube. At this point, I'm a big YouTube,
You can find anything there. See, for me, it's like stand-ups. Yeah,
Stand-up like comedy?
Stand-ups.
Did you watch the roast? The Tom Brady
sometimes.
roast? Yeah, I love it.
All
Sorry,
right,
but
so
I love it.
next one. How about favorite female name? This is very random.
I really like the name Valentino.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know anyone that has that name, but I always thought that if I had a daughter, which I hope I do one day, I hope I get that choice to call her Valentino. Yeah, I don't know why.
Cool.
I just think it's a very like beautiful, it's not Valentine's, but Valentino. It has that little charm of no at the end. So.
It could sound like it could be a man's name too. Like
there is
unisex.
There's a couple movie stars with I think so, right? Similar to that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Wow. Nice choice. Favorite word.
Word. At this point, I just discovered one word, which is humility. Humility. So, I think that is very, very meaningful. And I think that a human being to be humble, to be grounded is something that is very, very important. Very important to the way you live your life. And if you're humble, then things start to go your way. But if you're the kind that keeps wanting more and more and more and put too much importance on yourself, I think that's the trigger stressful life, I would say.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. For the next one, I'm looking forward to knowing your answer so much.
Okay.
Favorite swear word? Do you swear?
Yeah, I do. Actually,
course,
I'm
yeah.
swearing in my head all the time. You know.
Okay.
Like,
Although
but
not
like,
out loud all the time.
I don't really swear much anymore with work and everything. And like, as you grow older, you know, you're not in a situation where you swear much. You don't go to a meeting and say bad words.
No.
But with friends, I'm still the same. I still use bad words, but
Yeah.
I like to say twat.
Swag? Oh, that's totally new for
It's
me.
very British. It's very
Yeah.
British. It's very bad word, but I don't know.
Really?
I just
Okay.
like it's a funny word. It's like football fans like to use it. They're like, they go, you twat, you know? And I just think
okay.
that, and I like to call it twat like that, like a British accent to it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, twat.
And it's sound also, right? The
Yeah.
sound that how it's pronounced.
Yeah, like when I
Yeah,
see something,
it's very
I go like,
satisfying
yeah,
to
it's
just- to
satisfying.
say.
It's satisfying. Like, you twat. Like when you tell yourself, you know, like, oh, what? Or if I'm
Okay.
playing with my friend, yeah, that's a word
Yeah.
that I'm not sure if people would know that word, but it's a very British kind of.
I don't
do you
know that
word?
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it's a rude word. You can check up the dictionary later, but yeah.
Oh, we'll be like showing the definition on the screen right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so you have to be careful around like British people.
Yeah, but
Okay.
actually I learned it from the British people, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Not your dad, is it? Or
It might have been him. It might have been him, yeah.
okay. All right. So favorite teacher.
Teacher?
Yeah.
Mr. Mack.
Mr. Mack?
Mr. Mack was my football coach growing up. He was like a second father at the time in terms of school and everything. And he was the person that, like, because I was a big footballer at school, so, and when I say football, I mean soccer.
Yeah.
I traveled around, and actually recently I haven't seen him for 10 years, and he lives in Switzerland now, and he just came back recently, and to meet him and to see him, I would say, this guy actually, because I think like 13 to like 18 are your shaping years.
Oh yeah.
So if you're shaped by the right teacher, he was never the teacher that, he was always a teacher that the students love. And when I teach and when I do work with children, I always have Mr. Mack that I want the children to see me like how I saw him.
Yeah. Like role model.
He's a role model. And I remember like when we went to play football, because sometimes we would play on the same team. And we would play with adults. And when an adult would tackle us hard, he would turn into not Mr. Mack. He would protect his students. He would get in there. He would be pushing, shoving them, and protecting his kids. You know what I mean? And I really respected that. And as a leader, I think like protecting your people is very important. And I try to do that. But I don't punch anyone or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate and really looked up to that mentality as a teacher.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one you might have mentioned favorite English football player.
I would have to say David Beckham.
Okay.
I would have to say Beckham
Ooh.
because as a kid, I tried to have the same hair as him. I tried to dye my hair to look like Beckham.
Yeah.
I said I went to England, got me Beckham's signature.
Ooh.
I followed Beckham. I read his book and all that kind of stuff. And you know, like people don't remember how much of a good footballer he actually was. And to see his career now going on to become an owner, and like I do a lot of business now too, and to see him grow in that way and always be a nice guy for all these years, you could really sense that he's a good guy. So I think that David Beckham is definitely a role model, and of how he's a family man, how he helps kids around the world. I've heard stories about people who's actually have met him in person, that when he came to Thailand and they had to take care of him, and it's only nice things. And so I would really David Beckham 100%.
Yeah. Okay, the last one for the quick fire round. Okay. Favorite quotes? Any?
I would say if there's a will, there's a way. You know, that's how. Because now I'm like, as I'm doing my organization, I have to lead, and actually watching a lot of the podcasts, like especially on the Standard. I think I remember one quote where someone said that every CEO, everyone has kind of the same attitude, and one of them is that they think that everything is possible. I think P. Ken said that, I'm not sure, that everything is possible. And the leaders, they don't know how they're going to get there, but they think it's possible. And then they slowly find a solution. And it comes back to the quote, like, if there's a will, there's a way. And every time I speak to my team and everything, I say, never say it's impossible right away. If you have a will and you really want to do something, you'll slowly find a way. It takes time, but it's better than saying not possible right away. So yeah, that's definitely the quote, how I live my work life.
All right.
Yeah.
I really like this like rapid fire thing.
Yeah.
Yes, fun, right?
It's fun, and I think it's a good way to like in my podcast, like the reason that I do it is to orientate a little bit. Sometimes you meet someone and like because when I do camps, I just sing and get everyone to sing, you know, just to like open them up and make them know who I am and what they're doing. And it's the same with podcasts. If you could like ask them random questions, get them thinking, I think it sets a good tone for the talk after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I actually got it from Gary Neville.
Oh, okay.
From watching his podcast. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, but now you have a podcast for fans to listen to or watch.
Yeah.
It's called Talk to Talk or
Yeah.
T2T,
Yeah.
and you can just go watch. If you haven't subscribed already, but I'm sure you have, just go to Alex's channel.
Yeah, thank you.
And you have been talking to a lot of people, especially in the business.
Yeah.
Most of them your friends or people
Yeah.
you already know, but you get to like sit down
Yeah.
and talk like extensively with them.
Yeah.
Like maybe you haven't done that before.
Yeah.
Well, with some people, right? Like
Yeah.
you kind of know them, but never have you guys spend this kind of long quality time together.
Yeah.
So you can like talk things out or get to know them in some aspect that you haven't before.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great experience. I've enjoyed it a lot. And one of the reasons that I wanted to keep it a conversation as much as possible rather than an interview. And I always had this idea, like, what if I could do content without any scripts, you know, without any like preparation? Because like working in this industry for quite a while since I was a kid, everything was always scripted, you know, everything was always framed in a way, no opportunity to really be yourself. And then now I start to see content abroad. I was watching a talk show, I was watching his talk show, and I was just thinking like, he came out and he said, I don't have a script. I just want to have a normal conversation and see where it goes. So I always had that in the back of my head. And I always watch podcasts, and I always had this idea. I wanted to do this podcast for many, many years now. And then I didn't have the time or the right like momentum going on. I had so much going on. I'm like, you know what? I got to start. And without caring too much about the feedback and starting with my friends first, because I know they would forgive me if I don't do such a good job. So, and like with the systems and everything. And it turned out to be really, really good fun.
Yeah.
And now like I don't have to prep much. I know a lot about them. And I had no concept. People ask me like, what podcast, like, what is it about? Like, what
is the concept?
Yeah, what is the concept? And I'm like, I don't have one. I just want to talk, but my idea is basically pick the people who I find interesting, that have a good mindset that I know for sure, and that are nice people. And I don't want us to be a platform with any negative energy at all. I don't want anything that would spark like any dramatic issues. I want people to really learn about the way they think, the things that they've been through, and hopefully bring out a lesson in that, make it a little bit meaningful. So yeah, most of it, actually, I have a couple questions, but most of it is just like sodเลย, like just go full on.
That is good, yeah.
I enjoy it a lot.
We can tell, we feel there's spontaneity of the whole thing, and that's what makes it fun, right?
Thank you. Coming from you too. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So what is the show about?
Yeah. So
I was kidding.
Nothing.
But you have to talk to a lot of people, but you do it in both languages, like in Thai or in English. It depends on your guest, right?
It really depends on what's like comfortable. Like the people like James Mars coming on or has already come on, we speak in English in real life, you know, and P. Louis Scott, P. Emikin Batum, we speak in English in real life. Chin, we speak in English. So I just felt like whatever is comfortable on that day, whatever you felt comfortable with, and so that was the start. Like Not came on, and I asked her what language, and she's like Tinglish, and I'm like, okay, let's go with that. Thai and English, just whatever, because it's not about the language, it's about feeling comfortable and letting people sense their energy.
So whatever it takes, like whatever language, they're comfortable.
Yeah, because I really want people to see them in their own environment and know who they are. Because I generally do think that they are very nice, very good people who come on the show. And like we were talking about, should we move the cameras around to have more movement? I'm like, no, just one frame. One frame. So the movement is more natural, you know, and I think the more natural, the better, especially for a podcast.
Yeah, I like that too. And it doesn't require like the high production or highly produced quality kind of video.
It's very low budget.
I know. But that's the best part. Like this is real, like real talk, real conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And besides this show, you also have like different kinds of show on your channel. For one, we have to talk about your cooking show with your family, with your dad. So he was a cook, right? He was a chef.
He was.
So
he was
this is like right up his alley and.
Like my dad worked in hotels all his life. He was a chef for many 5-star hotels, Shangri-La, Marco Polo. He was in the Maldives, Meridian, Intercontinental.
I love that one episode where he went back to the place he used to work.
In Phuket, Meridian Phuket. That's right. Like that. And you know what? Like I before that, I did a lot of shows about the environment. So much planning, so many meetings, so much like cost so much money to go to all these places. And on the opposite, we just filmed in our house with no script, no nothing, just a couple cameras. And all of a sudden, the first show had like a lot of views. It had like, we checked the Facebook, had like 10 million engagement, like everything. And we were like, wow, like this is easy. Like he's a creative too. And like whenever like we have like a menu, he decides everything he wants to do. So I go like with no script, no nothing, not even knowing sometimes what we're going to make today. And I just think that natural, you know, and also working with conservation and stuff like that, people think that I'm very intelligent and people think that like but actually I'm absolutely not. Like I have like a silly side to me, which I want to like show that and entertain people in that kind of way. So it all came together and does very well.
That is fun. That is so much fun
it's good
too.
Fun. Very good fun.
And also, actually, there's still a lot of shows or videos about the environment. And it's still like a main thing for you too. It's still the thing that you're always into, always have been, and will be in the future. So, would you like to talk about that? Like how your environmental show is right now? Is working right now on your channel.
It's called กอดปากอดทะเล. It's actually a platform that we started before COVID. The initial plan of that was we were going to go like กอดปากอดทะเลhad a team. We had like a team of volunteers. We were going to travel around the country to educate local people on local environmental issues of that area. And COVID happened, so we had to change it and it became a production. And I just really love that project because that's the project that I felt like I initiated it, the name I thought about it, you know, even like the way that the show, everything I thought about it. I mean, of course I had a great team around me, but like it came from my decision and I didn't want to throw it away. So now it's become a show on YouTube where I want to go around and talk about the environment in a more entertaining way because I think talking about the environment can be a very boring issue especially for those who are not interested. So I really, really wanted to find a way to make it as entertaining as possible. Like no คำวิชาการ no hard words, easy words. And throughout my like 10 years that I've been working in the industry, I've been to all these different places that people haven't really heard of, maybe even Thai people themselves. So I go to these places and I want to bring out and raise, issues about like climate change, biodiversity, pollution, all the kind of things that people should be aware of. But I'm really not there to judge anyone or to take anyone's side or anything like that, which is one thing I'm very, very careful of. Like I don't want the comments to be a bunch of like dramatic comments. I want people to understand it more, see left, see right, because in the environment, like is very, very just like วงการบันเทิง there's all different kinds of opinions, even professionals, they tend to disagree in certain subjects, it depends which viewpoint you're looking at it, and it's my job to share out that neutral viewpoint and you make the decision. What do you think? How can we do this? I'm no expert to tell anyone that this is the right or wrong way. Of course, I have an opinion, but my main thing was to educate people on like sea turtles and things that I know, and I feel like I could make it fun.
Yeah, and one thing you do is that you teach children
Yeah.
about all these fun, and it's very important, but it could be fun. It could
Yeah.
be very relevant to their life too.
Yeah.
So you have your camps, and you take children to the forest, and you get to know all the plants, all the animals, and stuff like that. And it sounds fun. So you start them young, like start from the very young age.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Three years. We start.
Yeah. So talk more about the camps for us. Like
So
you always have these camps going on, like almost every week. I heard, right?
Yeah. We do like last year I think we did like 35 executions.
Ooh.
Yeah, so in 52 weeks a year, right? We're away for 35 of them, which is we're trying to change that because a little bit too much. But in terms of well, we have two sides basically. Like if we were to talk in business terms, it's like one side is B2C, one side is B2B. So B2B, we work with, like corporates, and we work with government sectors, NGOs and stuff. B2C is our own camps, which we have like around 20 different camps. We have, we go north, south, east, west. Basically, we have none in Bangkok at all. So we have different age groups, different camps. And like an example would be an elephant camp in Kanchanaburi. Last week, I just did a vet camp การเรียนเป็นสัตวแพทย์ in Chiang Mai.
I just saw that, like your clips on your IG.
Yeah. So that was great fun. And we do for the marine side, we have marine wildlife. We have coral camps. We have shark camps, fish camps. And basically, the whole camp is dedicated to that specific subject and let the kids love nature more and understand more about nature in many different ways.
So how do you usually come up with the ideas for all those camps? Like from your interest, or from like the trends, or the problems that you see?
So we have to find the right location. I think that's because safety is definitely the most important thing when we run in our organization. So there's a lot of nice places, but they don't have the facility there, or there's no content to teach. Like the nature is not too diverse. So you go and it's beautiful, but then now what? So and we've learned, and we have a great team. We have an academic team. We have professionals in our team. We have people who have graduated from like learning. What do you call like การออกแบบกระบวนการเรียนรู้ like learning designer, creativity, how to make it fun. Is there the facilities? Is it safe? Every single place we have to go eat that food first, sleep in that hotel, walk that trail, inspect that boat, and stuff like that. So in the beginning, we see where we look at the location first. Where is an interesting place, and then we go and we survey. And can we come up with a 3-day itinerary, 4-day itinerary? But when we work with the corporate side, they kind of have a scope, and we work around it. For example, okay, we want to do like circular economy. Can you please tell us where's the best place to do circular economy? And then we go and find it, and then we pitch just like to the clients and we work with them in that way.
So you co-founded EEC Thailand, which is like do all the work about like educating people about the environment. And you're still the Goodwill Ambassador for UNEP, right?
Yeah. So UNEP is United Nations Environmental Program. So I am still the Goodwill Ambassador.
So what would be the role, or what do you do as an ambassador?
So it's not as active as people may think, and as active as what I also would have hoped for, to be honest. But like I'm not really involved in all the like the policy making. Like when people say the word "tut," they automatically think I'm part of negotiations and. Like there's a lot of people when there's an environmental issue, they send messages to me to go solve it or do something about it. But I'm honestly not in the position to be able to do that, So my job is really to be the face of it, I would say, like communicate. Like I go to conferences abroad in Thailand, and actually one of the reasons that all of the work was online because when I first signed the contract, that's during COVID period. So we couldn't travel, we couldn't do any on-ground executions. But this year, actually, we're about to talk more with the UNEP team. And we're about to see how can we work together, how can we make impact in the most in the way that is best. Basically, like what are my values, what are my beliefs, what are theirs, and let's see how we can work together. So we actually have a meeting set up quite soon, but right now it's a lot of social media, it's a lot of like online conferences, offline conferences, and if there's an opportunity for me to go speak on behalf of Thailand, which I've done a couple times, then yeah, I try to go and with a message that hey, Thailand is not as bad as you think, you know, like people on the outside, they might have different perception of the environment in Thailand. So I try to fix that and try to like, you know, this is what we're doing right now. These are the obstacles that we're going through. But I'm not a politician or anything like that. Yeah.
I see. So people keep talking about like the environmental issues, of course, and like the things that we need to do today. Like it's not an option anymore, but it's a must. You have to do this, otherwise we might not like survive anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So the question is, are things getting better? Like, I mean, at the speed where we can feel a little like at peace that the world's not gonna end from like global warming in this lifetime or maybe the next.
I mean, in my opinion, I think that we can't expect nature to be how it was like 20 years ago. That's out of the picture. Or 30 years ago. Like there's almost no chance. But in my opinion, we could still like have you know, we could still solve a lot of the problems if more action is taken, definitely. But I also think that it's more on a policy level, it's more on a country level. Like we're doing a lot of like putting a lot of pressure on individuals, which individuals do play a role. But I think that it's the big boys that we have to you know to help us a little bit more. Yeah, and I also think that it's very difficult to change people's behavior. But to answer your question, I do think that nature is slowly declining. Like just simply because I go to the same places every year, and I see that the corals have changed, like the biodiversity, the marine life within the area has changed. Especially this year, I've seen a lot of weird things that I've never seen before. Like before you could predict the weather. Now you can't really predict the weather. Like there's no seasons really. I've met people who are, their lives have changed, you know, like people who are going through, like it's a matter of survival at this point, you know, like before it would be perceived as something that only a group of people are doing, only the people that love trees, love animals are doing, but it's really not about that. It's really about survival. And I think that we're in a position where if we don't be careful, it will affect us. It will affect us. I mean, we saw what happened with the plane, right? There's been most accidents in the ocean than ever this year. Diving boats. We've had, you know, all these different, Papua New Guinea just had a huge landslide like a couple days ago, which, you know, and these things are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. In my perspective, in my view, I don't have any scientific knowledge to back it up, but I just think that it's a lot more scary than people may think.
More and more obvious, and there are evidence all over the place. It used to be a lot like slower. The change that happening or the impact that we can see, like the sudden impact.
For sure.
Right before our eyes. It used to be like, okay, we know that we kind of do this and it might like ruin the nature in the 20 years. But now it's happening right in front of us. And it's scary.
Like, I honestly believe, like personally, that it could come to a point where our grandchildren will be asking us. I always tell this story to our kids that our grandchildren could ask us, like, is it true that before there was coral reefs and fish in the ocean? You know, like just like how we're reading about dinosaurs today, you know? I really think that it could possibly be that way. Like scuba diving can go extinct because there will be nothing to go diving to see. You know, like people will have to adapt, like outdoor activities will all be indoors one day, you know. It kind of thinks back to Interstellar, like, you know, when they go to a different planet, there's no real nature, the wind is so weird. So even humans are starting to adapt to this new change already. And I think the world will definitely have to be, you know, more resilient in terms of adapting to the current situation. For sure.
Sustainability. People are talking about that a lot. At the Standard, we like keep doing contents about this. Every chance we got, like we try to like convey the message out there. But it's like you said before, it's very hard to change people's behavior, especially what they're already familiar with. And they might not be able to see today like someday these things can like just disappear
right
we just can't see the possibilities
and like I think it's a bit unfair to pressure like even though I'm like part of that pressure a little bit but I think that the group like for example like if you go to a market you say don't use plastic bags like it's already more difficult to live a life like you know like with plastic bag now you're saying don't use plastic bags and even though you know there's so many other ways rather than pressuring people who already have like difficult lives you know so there's always that little like dilemma like do you become the environmentalist to stop these environmental issues or do you have that humility to feel sorry and understand what their lives are already difficult you know so to expect a change is quite challenging that's why I always believe that youth is the way to go you know because like I don't want to go through with that resistance with adults too much because I know that it can go so many different ways. I rather work with children and put it in them and when they grow older then they'll find their own way.
They'll make a change somehow. Do you still remember like before COVID? I think we're doing so well. And everything's going like so good in terms of like reducing like single-use plastic. We like keep our tote bag and stuff. But then COVID changes everything.
Right. Yeah.
Now we going back to like everything has to be wrapped in plastic because we have to prioritize like the well-being of people first and then see total later.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's sad to realize that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as you were saying, like before COVID, that was the most peak period of like you know movement of plastic a lot of big department stores don't use plastic a lot of like mini marts chose not to use plastics people and all of a sudden hygiene took over now we had to have a lot of plastic and then now we're in a situation where you know which is understandable of course because at the end of the day we're trying to save people no one is gonna say that be an environmentalist but put people in risk like it's not the way and actually, if you look at the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, like we were doing so well before this, but because of COVID, most of the 17 goals were pushed back way before, like poverty levels around the world double, tripled, or whatever it was, you know, like natural resources, you know, so many different things that COVID had really changed and shaped the world. You know. At the end of the day, everyone wants sustainability, you know, like I want sustainability, you want sustainability, the standard needs sustainability to keep the company going, you know, you want sustainable finance to be able to raise money for your kids, you know, you want a sustainable job. It's not just about like planting trees and corals in the ocean. Everyone in this day and age wants like ความยั่งยืน one way or another, definitely.
And like you said before, it's not just about like stop using single-use plastics. There are other ways that we can get like help and like start from yourself and many things we can do.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
But if I want you to like pick one thing that you think could be like the most pressing problem in this country, if you can fix just one or like tackle just one now, what would it be?
I would say that the easiest thing would probably be finish your food. Finish your food. It's actually a lot of it's actually a big impact more than you think.
Like no food waste?
Like food waste is very like I think like 30% of the total foods is food waste. You know, like around the world. And at the same time, you have millions and millions of people who don't have access to good food, you know? So it's like, it's a little bit strange in that way. And like, you know, segregating trash is also quite difficult sometimes. We got to be honest, you know? But I would say finishing your food, just that easy, that simple, it's a lot to, you know, it's a big impact, I would say. Like, actually, like a lot of the crops that we are burning that has a lot to do with our PM 2.5, it actually comes from planting food for the animals rather than food for the people, you know? So by us just finishing our food, it reduces the amount of animals we need and reduces the amount of agriculture that we need to feed all those animals that we eat. So, yeah, just that is also a big factor of, we could reduce climate change, finishing your food.
I am so guilty of this because I don't do it all the time.
Okay.
But it did happen to me. Like the other day, I kind of bought like buy one get one thing, like the stupid buns, like the stupid ขนมปังไส้เผือกโง่ๆแล้วบอก oh buy one get one that's good because I like this and then I just bought it and I kept it in the fridge and I didn't finish the second one I did eat the first one and then the second one was left in the fridge too long like 2 weeks and then I was like it couldn't be safe to eat now I threw it away and it was like I feel guilty about this, man.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own ways, but just like I'll be honest, I don't finish all my meals as well. Like I talk about like being vegan or vegetarian is a good way to help the world, but I eat meat, I eat beef myself. So just reminding yourself whenever you can, that little bit of change is a big change. Yeah, just be mindful
this
about
thing
it.
that you can easily do.
Yeah, it's very easy. Very
finish
easy.
your food. It sounds very practical and very possible to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I will not buy one get one thing no more.
You can.
I think that could be like a huge problem too because it kind of makes us like purchase more than we can finish.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think just being conservative in everything you do is already making a change. It's like little things, like my mom used to really be very angry when I brush my teeth and I don't turn off the like ประหยัดน้ำ like the water, just those little things, and like even like clothes sometimes I try to like I don't know if I should admit this but I try like if I don't wear it too often I kind of like hang it up and like just because I'm thinking like if I'm wearing something and putting it more washing is needed more just little things like that like I mean I'm not like super conservative in everything that I do but just those little things that I feel that if you have that in you you start to think about these things and those little things one person to a million people it's a big change
it piles up right
definitely
right. Okay so I think when we're talking about environment like this it sounds very real and very doable and it's a lot better in my opinion than like study all the statistics or data and all the difficult articles to read I do love this like conversation about the real thing
but to be honest I don't read and I don't read these papers too to be honest but I work with a lot of professors and they have the statistics and like it's very interesting for, like for us to be able to to study them but like I think that like we have to find a way to make it as easy to communicate to the general public as possible because like just make it easy to digest and stuff like that.
But I get you. It's different function for each people, like right? They study that, so they need all those articles and figures. But we are not studying, but we are like spreading words about it. So different functions.
I'm just reminding people. I think is already a big difference. Like, but I would never overlook like the importance of awareness. Raising awareness. I think it's very important.
It's the kind of thing that we have to keep talking about and reminding each other that hey, just don't forget this is still like relevant and this could still kill you or this could
it can
make a difference.
I met someone like I met someone whose life has changed because of the natural disasters like people have lost family members in their lives and I've sat down and I've spoken to these people and I always say that environment people think it's such a beautiful thing โลกสวยแบบป่าทะเลต้นไม้รูปสวย but actually it's a very very dark subject it's about lives it's really tough and that's the end goal to really like communicate the fact that hey it's not as beautiful as you think we do have to do something because it's coming closer and closer and closer to us I'm so scared to get on a plane right now you know what I mean like already it's affecting everyone that is flying for sure
and at some point it will affect all of your like aspects in life like it could happen like left and right we have no idea what's going to happen next but it could be like very life-threatening
it is I believe so
okay so just do something about the environment, whatever you can, starting with finish your food.
Yeah.
Finish your food.
Yeah, don't order
that's
too much. If it's not enough, you order again.
Yeah. Okay. So just be mindful of this, like great takeaway from Alex
Thank you.
today.
Hope it helps. All
right. Okay. So of course, besides like all this environmental work, you're still an actor. You're still the artist.
Yeah.
So how about all those like artistic work of yours? Do you still have anything going on right now?
Actually, no, I don't. No,
Okay.
I don't. I'm not acting at the moment, and I have decided to take a break from acting a little bit because one, I've been doing it my whole life, and the second thing is that I just feel like now it's a time where like now with what EEC is doing, I have my production company, and I'm actually managing both these companies myself, and a lot of the executions are dependent on my availability. And now as our team grows and we have more people, and like if I'm not available there, it kind of slows down the whole process for everyone else. And I just have my little world going on right now, and I wouldn't say I've stopped acting, but I just think that Lacons I've had an amazing journey with Lacons. I do want to go back eventually, but at this point in time, I'm really focused with my own work. I'm really having a good time with it, and yeah, like I can't really be away 3 or 4 days every single week for like years. Sometimes like I did a Lacon for 2 years, and it really stressed me out. Like I had to bring my laptop onto the set, and like between sets, I'm like doing like calls and meetings, and like I couldn't really focus on things much. And with the way that the television industry is also going, like I have to also like think about that too. Like, there's many different factors. I still love acting, and I go to auditions now, even as an extra. I go to auditions for like indie movies, or like I went to a couple like Hollywood movies auditions. I never got any of them, by the way.
Okay.
But like I'm in this point in my career where it's not really about the most mass kind of work. It's more about like finding what you love doing the most, what excites you, because I really do think I'm an actor. I really love acting. I really love the creative process of learning to become a character, going to set, meeting all those people. When they go action, everyone goes silent, and you do your thing. And I always thought that actors are like wine. The older you get, the more valuable we get. And I really want to go down that path, because I never really saw myself as like aพระเอก or anything like that. I was put in that position for sure, but I never really perceived or felt that was my career path. I always thought that is a very short พระเอก is only like until you're 40, but after that you could still become like such all these like Hollywood stars. The older they get, the more experience, the cooler they are, the better they are. And I really want to go down that route. So at the moment I have no acting. I'm very involved in behind the scenes. I actually did นิเทศ Growing up, I always thought I was going to be a film director. I write scripts, like I create my own content. I'm actuallyตัดต่อ everything, all these 3 shows we mentioned about. I watch every single thing. I'm choosing some of the music. I'm choosing the way we cut it, the way we edit. I'm in part of that whole creative process, and that's in my house. So I have my own little world. So in terms of acting, I'm on a short break at this point.
I see. So for the fans, if you missed him, just go to his YouTube
go to
channel.
YouTube,
He's not going anywhere, but he just like moved places, put his focus on the stuff that he does on his own right now.
I'll go back. I think I would go back for sure. I would definitely go back. It's been I think like almost even 2 years now since I was on a Lacon set. So it's been a while, and I miss it a lot. Like I see some behind the scenes of when my friends, on Instagram, they're like doing, and I'm like, oh, I miss sitting there. I miss the silly jokes the กองถ่าย has sometimes, and ไปต่างจังหวัด having friends at night. We just sit around and we just talk. The next morning we're tired as hell, but we have to do it. I just miss that. But I'm just waiting for the right role, the right opportunity, and the right time. And I think I'm in a position where I have the right to choose that. So yeah, I'm just waiting for that basically.
Yeah. And I think your fans can also wait.
Yeah.
And I think they know that you're doing something important and something that really speaks to you and you're having fun with all the things that you decided to focus on at the moment.
For sure.
All right. Okay, so one question that I asked all of my guests, which I think I asked too early in the show, which is your favorite word, like community. You did mention like humility.
Humility.
Right. Is there any other word that you can give us so we can use it?
Yeah, it's
somehow?
funny because I wrote this state like my Facebook's like this caption where I wrote the word humility like recently and I said live life with humility, you know, and someone came to comment and said live life with gratitude. So I really like that word gratitude. And when I said humility, I actually meant gratitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And gratitude is something that you feel thankful for what you have, you know. Like I had a big gratitude moment recently. I went like hiking in Kiumepa and like it just reminded me of everything that shaped me of being me. And like, you know, people in life, they come and they go. You have enemies, you have best friends along the way. And sometimes some things are still stuck deep in your heart that you haven't had the chance to clear it out or you will never have the chance to clear it out. But if you look back with gratitude and you're thankful for who you are, you're thankful for the things around you, you're thankful for what you have today. I think living with that mindset is a very, very healthy way. And it's not easy to live with gratitude, you know, with the things that are around us that are seducing us to think like this, that are trying to frame us to be like that, especially with Instagram, keeping us, you know, scrolling all day long, seeing all these words but if you have gratitude then I think you would live a good life.
Yeah. So today one thing I have learned is that you're totally my idol.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
You are having fun with your life. You have something that you value. You have something that you look forward to and can't wait to get back to. But at the same time, you're doing something very important. And you have your freedom to choose. And what is better than that? So, I think you have a very interesting life.
Thank you.
And I'm so grateful that I get to talk to you today on my show.
I'm so grateful to be here. I was a big fan. I've been watching this show many times.
Oh, thank you so much.
When are they going to invite me? Thank you so much.
And we can't wait to invite you back in the future too.
I will be back.
So
thank you.
Good luck with everything you do and Alex Rendell, everyone.
Thank you. You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you. ขอบคุณครับ ขอบคุณครับ Thank you ครับ
ลูกค้าเปลี่ยนเร็วมากเลยทำยังไงถึงจะชนะคู่แข่งได้ธุรกิจทำซัสเทนยังไงให้มันเวิร์กจริงๆใช้ AI ยังไงให้ได้ประโยชน์มากที่สุดเราจะทำให้เรื่องราวของธุรกิจนั้นสนุกเข้าใจง่ายและเอาไปใช้ประโยชน์ได้จริงๆ The Secret Sauce Summit 2024 ปีนี้ต่างจากปีที่ผ่านมาครับ CEO รุ่นใหญ่ๆเก๋าๆประสบการณ์เยอะๆเรายังเชิญเข้ามาอยู่ครับแต่ว่าเราจะเชิญตัวแทนของคนรุ่นใหม่ๆมาด้วยและเรายังมีเอ็กซ์เพิร์ทในมุมอื่นๆไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องของ Biotech Neuroscience เรื่องของ TikTok เรื่องของ AI Sustain ทั้งหมดนี้จะทำให้คุณนั้นเป็นนักธุรกิจที่ชนะได้ในคลื่นใหม่ครับเจอกันวันที่ 5-6 กันยายนนี้ที่พารากอนฮอลล์สยามพารากอนซื้อบัตรได้แล้ววันนี้นะครับที่10 Event ครับ